So we have received our most recent assignment. This will be on a baseball cap. It is a structured hat. You start looking at hats and you'll learn real quick there's a structured hat and there's an unstructured hat. I think the unstructured hats are easier. Everybody has a difference. On a structured hat, you probably don't need stabilizer because it's so stiff. Kind of don't need one. But anyway, I digress. So hats are a little different because you have to think of hats, digitizing hats a little bit differently. And the saying goes, if you're going to digitize for hats, they need to be digitized so that they stitch out from bottom up and from the inside out in some fashion as that. So for a hat design, I'm going to go to my document properties. Document properties can be found, file, document properties. For a hat, I'm looking at, my machine can go 300 by 65 millimeter. I don't want 300 wide, so I'm going to set it at about 150 by 65. I'm going to go to File and Import. Right there's my image. It's not a very good picture, but it should be good enough for us to work with. Zoom out. Lock it in so that it stays the right shape. And scroll it down. I need to give that a little bit of opacity so I can see my design border behind it. And we're right about there. The hat we're putting this on is going to be a very dark blue. So I'm not going to worry about doing that black behind it. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the bottom up, inside out yet. That'll be one of the last things we do. This is actually from a patch. The patch is much larger than my design size on my hat, so I'm going to have to get rid of some of this detail. I think I'm going to do, I don't know yet. I'm going to do less detail. I know that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create that center area circle. Make sure it's round. I can go 45 maybe. A little bit too big maybe. Oh, I know what's wrong. Unhook or unlock your proportion lock there. Now I can go 45 by 45, which is a little too big. So we'll try 44 by 44. Let's see what that does for us. I don't think the original is actually round. Interesting. I've got a little bit of room to play with. 43. I think we'll go 43. Now, what I want to do with this is I'm going to align center by center according to page. So I've centered it according to the page, and now I'm going to move the background image in place. And it's not going to center by page because the image is pretty bad. That's pretty close. We can work with that. So we're going to use that to difference another circle. Okay, let's make sure it's round. We'll go Let's do a 62 by 62 circle. And then we are going to center that to the page. So now we're center to the page on that one and the other one. I need to go back to this. I need to duplicate that. Grab that other one we just made. We're going to difference out. Now we have our outer ring and we have our inner ring. The inner ring I'm not going to stitch. The inner ring is for me to apply text to. So I want to make that a little bigger. So I need to go to Path Effects, Offset. We're going to make it, I think, 2. Might be a little too much. How about 1? I think we're looking for 1. Okay, I think we're looking for 1. I'm going to offset that by 1. And then we'll put our lettering on that slightly bigger offset ring. Next, we'll find a system font that we like. Ooh, that's long. Okay, you have controls up here that you can use to do certain things. We want a different. I think I like that font, but I think I'm going to go bold. That's better. Believe it's going to have to be smaller. So what we can do to figure out the size is match up one of these letters to one of those letters. And that'll give us a pretty good approximate size. I'm going to drop that opacity down a little bit so we can see what's underneath it. So we want that E and the R to, size-wise, we want that to line up with each other a little bit better. A little too much. It's actually pretty good. So what we can do, it's so long. Goodness gracious. It's going to have to be smaller. Okay, let's see what happens with that. I'm going to take the lettering. I'm going to remove the opacity. Take that lettering and then shift click that first circle that we made, and then we made a little bigger, and go into text and put on path. We want it to be on the outside of the path instead of on the inside. So we're going to do a flip horizontally. So it's all fitting, sort of, but it's going to have to be smaller. So what we can do is, we're still on a text. We haven't changed it to a path yet. So I'm going to go back into text tools on that text line, and we can make it less spacing between letters. And then this one is spacing between words. I'm going to actually increase that one a little bit. Gonna make our circle a little bit bigger. Go back into path effects. I'm gonna go ahead and make that a 2. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay. Go back to here, text. Oh, you know what? I need to click on that circle again, that center circle, and now we're going to spin it around to where it's a little bit closer to what we want. This is a good example of you can do quite a bit of things to it while you're still trying to figure out what you want to do. That's where I'm at right now. I'm still working on it. I'm gonna make that a little bigger. Okay, I like that better. Go ahead and spin it just a bit more. Where it looks about right, and stop. Okay, I like that. Okay, that text. Now we're going to go ahead and turn that text into a path, object to path. And let's get rid of that underlying path. Take the text. I'm going to duplicate the text. So now that we have a duplicate of the text, we want all of those to be one. Path combine. So I'm going to take that path. I'm going to drop it inside there temporarily. Now we have both of these together. Hide that text. Okay, that's what I want. Do a path difference. Now I can bring that back out. And we'll have to turn it accordingly. Now we can turn that text into yellow. We are going to do an offset on it also. We're going to do an offset of 0.01. Ever so slightly. Now our text can be yellow. Okay, so the next bit we're going to do is I want these things to be satin stitched. So we're going to manually create that satin stitch. Grab that, Control A to select all. Give them roundedness. Make another one, come down to here. Make some rungs. Okay, you need to decide, do you want it to run this way and kind of follow that flow, or do you want it to run completely horizontal? I think I want the completely horizontal look, at least to see what that looks like. So I'm going to press the control button to make sure that all of my lines are horizontal. And we'll make a few lines here. Shouldn't take that many. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it's going to go horizontal here, and then it's going to try to connect them here. So need to peel that back a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Same thing here. We need to extend this one just a little bit more. Okay, I think I like that. Now, each one of those, we'll grab each one of those, do a path combine, and then extensions Inkstitch, params, satin column. Since this is a small object, I don't think I want to make that stitch more dense. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Might do a contour. Yeah, let's go with the contour. So now we have one. All we have to do is duplicate and move them around. Yeah, we'll go with that. So I want to see all three of those, or all four of those rather. See what all four of those look like. And you know what? Let's go ahead and make them yellow. And let's see what they look like. Nice. We will need to cut those, trim those stitches. And we'll worry about that later. Okay. Okay, I have figured out what I'm going to do in this open area right here. Instead of limestone Tennessee down here, we're going to put TN in the center here. And it's going to be satin stitch. Because it is. Oh, that's the wrong button. And this is a customer. We already told them that it's not gonna be the same as what they have on their patch because it's just too small of an area. So they already know that I'm going to be changing it. So I kind of have creative license to do what I want, and if they don't like it, then they don't like it. Is what it is. Yeah. Actually, that collage would be perfect for this. I do believe that would be perfect. Probably going to be a little large. We'll have to shrink it down a little bit. Like I'm not used to that. Lock in our planes so that it keeps the same. What is that word I'm looking for? Keeps the same ratio. Can't think of it. And do something like that. I'm going to center that to the page just like I did the other things. Oh, it's too low. Okay, we'll center it. Center it vertically. Oh, it's because of the scissors. That's why. Yeah, that's normal. And we'll go ahead and apply it a yellow as well. Hide our image. It's not bad. I'm going to do something here. I don't know what yet. Going to make. Yeah, I don't know yet. All right, we're going to try a quick troubleshoot because I haven't done one yet. Image, that's because my image is still in there. That's fine. Border crosses itself. Okay. Let's get rid of that troubleshoot. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on this. Or that little O right there. The inside of that. Inside of that. Should be. Okay. Now let's see what it says about troubleshoot. Yep, we're good. Let's do a quick preview. Inkstitch. And simulate. Not too bad. I think I want to cut the density down just a little bit on that yellow fill lettering. Yes, all of that. Let's go to all of that and select it all params. I'm going to set my degrees of angle at 45. Okay. I want to do something here. Let's look back at our original image. It's got that. I don't need limestone Tennessee because I've got that. I don't need limestone because I've got it here. Tennessee. Yep, I really don't know what to do with that. So in the for now, we are going to take, we're going to duplicate that. And then I think I need to break apart. I believe. So let's do over from here, break apart. One of those is the inside one that I don't want to get involved. Which is that one. Okay. Well, that makes it easy. Delete the rest. Now, those two, give me a stroke paint of whatever color that is. I think we're going black. Stroke width. See what 3 looks like. I don't want dotted dashes. Give me solid. Go down to 2. Take the opacity all the way up. Extensions, Inkstitch, satin tools. Start line to satin. I do believe that looks better. Take the opacity of that up. And select same. Fill color. Opacity all the way up. Give us a dark gray look. Outstanding. Now, go back to the image because we just took the opacity up on the image. We don't want that. We don't want that. Okay. All right, let's turn that image off and let's try it again. That looks a whole lot better. I'm going to leave it at that. I am going to show you how to make it a little bit more hat friendly. It's hard to make something like this truly hat friendly. It's hard to take this and make it stitch from the bottom up, inside out completely. So we're going to wing it and do the best that we can with what we have. This is going to sound backwards, but take what you want to stitch last. And I want these two things to stitch last, so I'm going to drop them all the way down to first. Yep. Now take what you want stitched second to last, drop that all the way down. By the time you get done, those two things are going to be on top. What's the next thing that I want is that. Is all of that. Maybe. I think I'm going to do it in this order, and then I can change it if I don't like it. So all that's going to be next. And then that. And then the text. And yes, I think I do want the yellow text to stitch before the outline around it. Subject to change. I'm kind of experimenting here. So you may not want to do this may be a case where you might not want to do what I do. And then the, what is that? It's a big old nothing burger, isn't it? That's the remnants of something else that I did. Okay, so I want that top one down. And then the two side ones can go down in either order. And then the bottom one. And I actually want that TN to stitch out second. Yes. So it should go bottom decoration, TN, and then the two side things, and then that top side thing, and then that is the text. That one's I'm a little iffy on. That's an experiment. I'm not gonna lie. TN's already got trim stitching. Trim command. Oh, I keep saying that. So I need that. I need those to have trim. And see, I'm kind of thinking that if I do the yellow lettering first and don't trim, and there's a purpose behind not trimming. But if I don't trim and then it does the outline, that dark gray outline around it, it'll cover up what I didn't trim. There should be less trims needed, less little scissors trims needed. The reason not to trim those is because every time you tell your machine every time you tell your machine to trim, it has to do extra stitches to tie off. And then it has to stop and, well, depending on your machine, it'll trim, it'll either move away or it'll pull the thread out of the way. It'll go to the next spot, it'll do several stitches. Starting a new stitch, it'll do several stitches slowly and then it'll go. You hope that it cuts properly and that it reconnects to the bobbin. But every time you trim, you're increasing the odds that you're going to miss a stitch. It's going to, throw a thread, break a thread, not necessarily break a thread, but point is, every time you add an extra step, you're slowing the machine down and you're adding to the possibilities of it not continuing, not breaking, but just not continuing for some reason. So the less trims that you can do, the better. But I'm going to go ahead and offer this up to Sweetie when she gets home and see what she thinks about it. And if she likes it, then we'll go ahead and stitch out a sample. But I'm going to call this video done. I've done all I can do. Whatever she tells me to change or adjust is going to be minor, I'm assuming. You know what they say about assume. Yes, I do. That looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, and that's another good point. These very last items, I'm not going to do a trim on those for the same reason that I mentioned already. You're better off trimming that, manually trimming that away, because those are small areas, especially in the little the little bit in between the A and the R, the little circle of the R there. Yeah. All right. I do believe that's going to be all for this one. If you like what I do here, please like and subscribe and make an old truck driver happy. Until next time, thanks for watching.